What in the world are they thinking? I think there are 7 reasons to say no to this forcefully. Remote controls for cranes aren't new, and they're fine if you're close by. Disconnecting the operator from the crane misunderstands crane operation.
Hard no.
Being afraid of heights is completely rational, and at the same time, you should not be in a tower crane if you are afraid of it.
So I'm going to put in a little bit of power, and I'm going to get ahead of the block. So now my boom is ahead of the block, and the block starts moving. I can add a little more power. So I'm on my second step now. And so now I'm pretty much staying dead even with it. I let it go to neutral, and the block is drifting ahead. So I can put a little counter torque into it. Now when the block is even with the boom, I go ahead and stop. Let it drift out. It's going to drift ahead again one more time. And now I can take little bumps, and I'm ahead of it. And the block has stopped. The boom's still moving.
Failures happen all the time. To qualify how important feel is for an operator of a crane, a manufacturer flew me to Arkansas once to diagnose what was going on with the crane. They thought their bearing had gone bad in the turntable, and when I got there, I spent about 2 hours trying to find this problem that he was feeling. What I ended up finding was a missing lacing.
No, God!
There was a lacing missing from the factory. And so it's critically important that we feel the cranes we're in. Easy, small movements can be felt when you're in the tower crane. They cannot when you're on a remote. Who is doing the inspection if the operator's in an office, and who is responsible? Sitting like this in the tower crane is not just about comfort. Sometimes when you're leaning forward, you know that you're about 80% of your moment limit. And what happens is that as you go further forward, you have more and more pressure there. It's almost like another sensor. So if you had a mechanical sensor or an electronic sensor fail on your crane, this is a secondary way to know. This load test going on is an example of a failed load test. Winds are another reason that you want an operator in the seat. I was on a 21-story building running a crane, lifting next to the building when a 45-mile-an-hour wind came in with no warning. I went from basically 0 wind to 45 miles an hour. I was at
I'm giving it all she's got, Captain. If I
full
put
power before the crane started pushing because I heard how much wind was coming in. And I knew the load was going to be pushed into the building and the crane was going to be following right behind it. If you're not in the seat, you'll never feel that. It'll just push you, and that's all it's going to be. And so the reality is that you want to be in the seat so you can hear and feel the wind as well and react. Finally, I would say fine tuning. When you're getting loose of a load or you're picking up a load, the feel of the crane deflecting and watching the rigging in combination really lets you know how much you have on the load. Sure, you do have the load cell on a lot of cranes, but sometimes they're behind what you're feeling, and they read in a delay. And in this case, you can feel everything that's going on, and it's critically important that an operator feels. I have empathy for people who are nervous by nature. The reality with tower cranes and mobile cranes is that things are going to go wrong, and you're going to have to make split-second decisions on whether or not you take action. And you cannot have a person who's nervous not take action when action is needed.